As you all reach the summit of this mountain, you see before you a small shack. Laying just outside the front door is an armless skeleton. As you all approach, it starts to move, but as it has no arms, it seems to be having trouble getting off the ground. Hello, and welcome to Tuna's Tales. For Pondering Monsters this week, we'll be stepping into the closet to dig out some skeletons. Now, this isn't your normal skeleton, this is a surprisingly helpful one. At least, it will be when your party's done with it. If you want to see what the bones of this encounter look like, then stick around. Who knows? You might even find something humorous. We find our heroes questioning the proprietor of a rather rural tavern at the base of a mountain. They've been tasked with gathering a magical potion by the local lord of the lands, and their search has led them here. The tavern keeper listens to their story and tells them that if anyone were able to create this magical elixir, that it would probably be the potion master hermit that's rumored to live on top of the mountain. It's too dangerous for average people to make their way up, but adventurers might fare better. Tossing the tavern keeper a couple gold for his trouble, the group sets out and begins to make their ascent. Along the way, they face several challenges, almost like the mountain is testing them. But just as the sun is beginning to set, they reach the summit. In front of them is a small shack with the occasional scorched claw mark that looks like it's seen better days. There's also a fire pit not too far away from the shack, and lying on the ground between the two structures is an armless skeleton. As the heroes begin to look around, the skeleton starts to move like it's trying to sit up. However, since it has no arms, this takes an uncomfortable amount of time for the heroes. It eventually succeeds and, after standing, walks towards the fire pit. The skeleton stops in front of the pit and begins using its bony foot to try and unearth a slightly singed merchant's hat from the ash. One of our heroes steps forward to help, and as they go to place this hat on the skeleton's head, they notice that it's wearing a circlet that looks very similar to a headband of Intellect. With the skeleton put back together, sans arms, the group starts trying to figure out how to communicate with the skeleton to see where this potion master may be.
Wait, is that it? I have so many questions, though.
Well, Red, you better get asking.
Alright, first question then. What in the name of Tiamat is going on here?
To be honest, Red, this skeleton is the potion master that the party is looking for. He learned how to brew potions, but society still shunned him for being undead, so now he lives on a mountaintop where he practices his craft and lives in peace.
Wait, skeletons aren't that smart. How did he learn to brew potions?
Easy, he came across a headband of Intellect.
What's a headband of Intellect?
Well, it's an uncommon magic item that sets your intelligence to a 19 if your int score is lower than that to begin with. He became attuned to it and now is extremely smart. This gave him the ability to see the error of his traditionally undead ways and to learn how to brew potions.
If he's so smart, why didn't he just tell people that he's not dangerous?
My answer to this is actually more opinion than fact. The way I see it, just having a high int score doesn't give skeletons the ability to speak. You need the fleshy bits to do that.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Huh, who'd have thought? Anyway, why is he armless? Don't you need arms to brew potions?
Well, since he doesn't have a mean-spirited bone in his body, it makes sense that he would be completely armless. Unless you're asking why he has no arms, in which case something came along and took them. You could say that he managed to merrily escape his attackers.
Can you stop with the puns, Tuna?
Fine. I should have known you'd have no funny bone.
Tuna!
Alright, you numbskull. What's your next question?
What took the skeleton's arms then?
I was actually thinking of saving the exact what for next week, so you'll need to be a little patient with that one. However, there is a vague clue included in that summary from earlier. Long story short though, if your party wants this skeleton to brew them a potion, they'll need to get his arms back.
Fine, I'll wait. In the meantime, you mentioned there was travel up a mountain? What's that like?
Well, for that you can do several things actually. Skill checks to get past obstacles, creatures that try to ambush the party, or random encounters to slow them down. I'll go into some detail on things in a little bit, but the goal here is to challenge and wear your party down during this portion, since travel is the main source of conflict here.
Okay, last question then. What do I do if my players try to kill the skeleton before they know that he's who they're looking for?
This can be a little complicated for many reasons and could probably be its own video. For now, I'd say start things off by making sure that you've made it clear that this skeleton isn't hostile towards the party. If they attack it after that, then I'd say to just let them. They need this skeleton to brew this potion. With him gone, they could try to brew it themselves, but when it comes to that, I'd say something unforeseen should happen.
What do you mean?
The skeleton was a master at his craft, and he knew all the ins and outs to brewing. Even if you have a character that specializes in brewing, I'd say that there should be a thing that only the skeleton knows about when it comes to this potion. This is because if there wasn't anything in particular that only the skeleton knew, then why would a party that knows how to brew potions need to seek him out in the first place?
Oh, is this a consequence thing?
It very much is. For whatever reason, the party decided to just kill a random NPC that hadn't shown aggression towards them. These are the consequences for that.
What if I don't get the chance to describe the skeleton because my players interrupt me?
You know, I've had this happen to me many times, actually. My answer to this is to tell the player to wait, let you set the scene, and that you'll get to them shortly. I can understand players wanting to get the jump on something and not letting it have the time to set up, but if you're just trying to describe what they see and they interrupt you, I'm sorry, that's just rude. Now, if you're new to DMing, this won't be easy to do at the start, but it helps set expectations for your table and hopefully stops it being a problem in the future.
I hope so too.
Indeed. Any other questions, Red?
Nope, I think I'm good for now.
Great. Let's start putting this together then. This whole thing starts as a quest from someone in a position of power. A king, lord, etc. needs your party to go and gather a powerful potion. What this potion does isn't really important and could be anything you feel like. Maybe someone in the king's family is sick and it can cure them, or it's a truth serum and the king needs it to catch whoever's plotting against him. The important part of it is that whatever it's needed for isn't something the party can take care of themselves, which is why they have to go looking for someone to make it. After accepting the quest, the party can make their way to the appropriate location and begin scaling the mountain. See, my son is sick with a wasting disease of some sort. We've tried all sorts of remedies from the top healers in the land, and nothing's worked. There have been rumors of a master potion maker at the top of a mountain not far from here. I need you all to go and collect his strongest potion for my son. When it comes to reaching the mountain, this can be as short or as long of a journey as you want. If this is a quest in a campaign, then it can be halfway across the continent. If it's a one-shot, then as little as a couple hours away. As they're scaling the mountain, you should be trying to challenge them, since interacting with the skeleton at the top is mostly roleplay. You can get as in the weeds with this as you'd like, but if you want to keep it simple, try doing the following. Set a number of hours that you think it should take for the party to get to the top. Each hour should have one event happen during it, and at the end of an hour, have each character make a con save of around DC 12 or 13. If they fail, they get a level of exhaustion. Now, before you say anything about exhaustion being too rough, this is a special type of exhaustion. It can be removed by spending a hit die on a short rest. Let your players know about this, since we're changing how the rules on exhaustion works temporarily here, and give them a chance for a short rest after every hour. They'll be fine. When it comes to the events on the way up, you can really do anything that makes sense here. Short combats with creatures at a medium difficulty, maybe with a hard one thrown in there too, rock slides that require a skill check at about DC 13 to avoid, or natural features that the party needs to navigate around in some fashion. Whatever you do, have fun with it, and before too long, the party will have reached the top. As you pull yourselves up from the ledge, you see that you've reached the top of the mountain. You have a magnificent view of the surrounding lands, and as you survey the area, you quickly spot a rundown shack nearby and a barely smoldering fire pit. In between these two features is a skeleton that appears to be missing its arms. From here, you introduce the skeleton to the party. It should be straightforward enough, but there are a couple assumptions made about skeletons for this encounter. These are, they can't speak because they are physically incapable of it, and this skeleton would normally be able to write, but there's the whole no arms bit. Make sure to really drive home the point that this skeleton is harmless and helpless. After doing that, the party can try to communicate with the skeleton potion master somehow. I'll leave that as an exercise for you and your players to figure out, though. Other than the lack of arms and ability to speak, this skeleton has an intelligence of 19 because of its headband of intellect. If they do find a way to communicate, then the skeleton would try to ask for their help by conveying the following. He is the rumored potion master that they're looking for. His arms were taken by some creatures the other day, and he would like them back as quickly as possible. And if they can return his arms to him, then he'll make the potion for him. You watch as this armless skeleton appears to be trying to draw in the dirt with its big toe in an attempt to communicate, but as it does so, it loses its balance and falls over. It spends several seconds struggling to get up off the ground without the use of its arms. And after it stands up, you're not sure how, but you can tell that this skeleton is exasperated. Now, if your party does choose violence on this one, and they weren't being rude in doing so, then, like I mentioned earlier, they should receive some unintended consequences if they try to make the potion themselves. Improperly crafted magical potions may have, but are not limited to, the following unfortunate side effects: ironic curses, dimension shifting, sudden development of harmful magical powers, and spell effects like True Polymorph, Permanent Blink, Reincarnate, Flesh to Stone, Banishment, and more. If you or a loved one has recently taken a magical potion and experienced one or more of the above side effects, then contact your local mage, as you may be entitled to compensation. And that's all there really is to this one. The party just needs to climb a mountain to find a potion seller who is actually a magically smart skeleton that recently had his arms stolen. He'll happily work with the party, but they need to get him his arms back first. This is good for a 5th level party of 5, but what if your party's stronger? For that, you'll need to scale some things up. Luckily, this is mostly going to affect their travel up the mountain. For around a 10th level party, you can start by increasing the number of con saves that the party needs to do on their way up, or by increasing the DC of those saves. Next, you can increase the difficulty of any combats you throw at them so that they're facing higher end medium encounters and maybe a couple more hard encounters. Finally, you can increase the DC and or damage of any natural events that they may come across. For around a 15th level party, you would still do all of this, but to even more of an extreme. Overall, scaling this should be pretty straightforward, so really it just comes down to what makes the most sense for you and your table, and is the most fun for everyone. Not really a wrong way to do it. And now your party can visit the Bone Zone. Literally, like, that's what I plan on calling this skeleton's potion shop, Bones Zone. His name is also Bone. What, just because he's undead doesn't mean he's missing a sense of humor. You could even say he's very hip. If you survived all the bone puns up till now, though, thank you. If you want to get this NPC and his shop, then you can find them over on my Patreon, as well as all the other things I've created for these videos, like adventures, maps, various homebrew rules, and more. Otherwise, if you liked this encounter and want to help me make more like this, then consider leaving a like, subscribing, and doing that thing with the bell as well. While you're down there, feel free to tell me what you thought of this encounter, or if you go and run this for your table, let me know how it went. With that, thanks for letting me talk at you all, and until next time, keep pondering.